Hello and welcome to a very special wine tasting today. I'm Jenny and I'm joined here by Leo, our Italian wine buyer, and Toni, who is a pasta chef who's come to create some delicious dishes to pair with a couple of wines we've got. We have got some wines from Veneto today in Italy. We've got a Pinot Grigio and we've got a delicious rosé. Before we introduce the wines, I'm just going to ask Toni to tell us a little bit about himself. You've opened a pasta academy, haven't you, Toni?
Yes. My original roots are obviously in the restaurant trade. I've been kind of in the restaurant industry since I was a teenager, so a long time. And I used to have my own restaurant, which I ran for about 32 years. And what I do now is I started this pasta academy. I have this small groups of people, 6 to 8 people, in my own kitchen. And I teach them how to make a fresh pasta from scratch.
Fantastic. Well, here you go. This is, you have that one.
Yeah.
Cheers to your new venture.
Thank you.
And Leo, do you just want to tell us a little bit about this wine? This is the Pinot Grigio. It's Il Sogno di Arianna. It's the Pinot Grigio.
Of course. Both of them, the Rosé and the Pinot Grigio, are called Il Sogno di Arianna, which means Arianna's dream. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Arianna, but first I want to tell you that where it comes from. Veneto region and from the Bigoli Cristoforetti families. This is a special time to taste this wine because they just celebrated 50 years of winemaking and friendship. So it all started with a shake of hands, basically, of the two families, and they've been together ever since, and they've been producing fantastic wines. Just to give you an idea where they are, Lake Garda.
Oh, lovely, beautiful. Fantastic. Okay, so that's a little bit of an introduction to the wines. As Leo said, we will talk about them a bit more later on, but they're both very fresh, refreshing, kind of racy wines, aren't they?
Definitely, yes.
And so Toni is going to cook us a couple of dishes that would pair beautifully with these. So Toni, what are you going to cook us?
The first one we'll be doing is, it's called Bigoli, which is a traditional Venetian pasta. Like I said, they're kind of type of spaghetti, kind of coarse, a little bit thicker than normal, and they're normally made with torchio, which is a kind of extruder. And then I haven't got that today, so we will make it with another accessory that I go for making Bigoli there. So that is one which probably we will match it with the Pinot Grigio, and the other one is also from the traditional Venetian or from Veneto area, from the Dolomites, Belluno and Bolzano and Cortina d'Ampezzo. It's called Casunziei, which is a kind of filled pasta, type of agnolotti, type of ravioli. And they are filled with beetroot, potato, and generally, depends on where you are, they can add some cheese, type ricotta or goat cheese. I'll be adding ricotta today. So it's beetroot, potatoes, and the ricotta cheese, kind of filled pasta. And that probably will complement, also because the pink color probably will complement it very well.
Delicious. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to trying these. So why don't you tell us, you've already made 2 pasta doughs for us, but you're also going to show everyone how to get the dough started, aren't you?
Yeah.
Is it complicated?
Well, it's pasta is not complicated by. Obviously you need to pay attention to a few particulars. Obviously, as you know, pasta is made from flour, the main ingredients, and generally water. So that is the main ingredient. We'll be using 2 different types of flour. One for the Bigoli, and it is semola, which is made from the Durham wheat. In the north of the Dolomites, there in the North Veneto, they normally use also the mix buckwheat, which is typical of the region. But normally semola is the one made for spaghetti or 00 flour. So we will make it for the Bigoli. We'll be using the semola, and the main ingredients for that one there is 00 flour. We're making 500 grams today, and we'll be mixing with a few eggs and some, because we want to get a pink effect, we are using some beetroot puree that will give it a kind of pink effect. Obviously, making pasta is not difficult if you pay attention to a few details. The standard dosage is one size of flour and half size of liquid that you may want to add, which can be, like I said, it can be water or can be a combination of eggs, or you can like say, if you want to have different effects on the dough. Like I said, today we're using the beetroot, so we will have between the eggs and the beetroot pesto is going to be 50% of the flour weight.
Okay.
So 250 grams.
Right, so while you get started on making the pasta dough then,
Right.
I'm going to have a chat with Leo a bit more about these two families that have, the wineries that the wine comes from, and their 50th anniversary. So who are the two families that have just celebrated?
The two families are Delibori and Cristoforetti. So they started off 50 years ago, as I said, with just a shake of hands, and it's unbelievable what they have achieved. I think they have a very good dynamic between them, because one of them is very introvert and he does the job in the cellar and in the winery. He doesn't speak much. The other one, Walter, is very outgoing. So I think they complement each other. So it's a very good chemistry they have between them. And as I said, just to let you understand where they are, Lake Garda. So Bardolino Quieretto, when you call a wine Chiaretto in Italy, you automatically understand that it's a Rosato, it's a rosé wine. And this is a typical wine from the area. And this is definitely what, if you go to Lake Garda on holiday, that's what you'll be drinking.
Sure.
By the
And
lake.
do the vineyards overlook the lake? Is that,
Some of them, yes,
does that
of
help
course.
give them their ripeness?
Definitely, yes. You know, lakes have a great effect on vine growing. So definitely, there's it kind of allows for the vines to not to have too much of what is called escursione. So it retains heat during the day, and also helps overnight as well. They're both talking about the wines. Pinot Grigio, Veneto is the top producing region in Italy. Possibly 80% of the production comes from Veneto region, and obviously the best examples of Pinot Grigio. Pinot Grigio can be, can make a lot of different styles of wine. This one that Arianna really wanted to make, it's a lot drier than usual, so not overly sweet. And you'll taste it, it's very aromatic as well. It's very, very fruity. Have a sip, yes.
Oh, that is,
See,
it's so light, it's so refreshing.
freshness. I get the white peach straight away. And it's just beautiful, just beautiful. I think this will pair very well with the Bigoli, I think.
Absolutely, yeah, I think so. And I mean, so Toni is kneading away that pasta dough, which
The
is
pasta
pink.
for the Casunziei, yeah.
And it's going to pair beautifully with our rosé wine. So you mentioned
Matching the color as well.
absolutely.
Look at the beetroot. Definitely, I think so. Because, Rosato, you need a little bit of the maceration of the skins of the grape. So the main variety here is Corvina. Mm-hmm. And actually, this shows you how versatile a grape variety can be. Corvina makes Valpolicella, can make Valpolicella Ripasso, can make Valpolicella Amarone. It can make Bardolino red, which is a red crisp fruit. But it can also make Chiaretto, which is a Rosato. So the same variety, obviously grown and handled in different ways, can make different styles. It shows you how many styles the actual region can make.
From really deep, rich, kind of like drink by the fire red wines to summer evening rosés.
Exactly, yes.
Fantastic. Okay, and tell us a little bit about Arianna as well, because this was her, she just really wanted to make a wine, didn't she? This is Arianna's dream, as the label says.
She was born in the vineyards, then she wanted to travel, and instead she studied international relations, so she left, but then she came back, and she's been working with them for 15 years. So basically, she's part of the family. She's like adopted daughter. And then she really wanted to make her wine, and that's why we called it Il Sogno di Arianna, so Arianna's dream. And then we worked together with the winemaker and her as well, and we came up with fantastic blends, actually.
Wonderful. Right, well, it looks like Toni is nearly done with this pasta dough. It's a beautiful pink colour, isn't it? That must be the beetroot.
Yes, it gives us a nice. I love doing these different flavored doughs.
How long do you have to knead a pasta dough for?
10 minutes. I mean, because the warm of Iran, you got to allow for the gluten to start to work, and it's quite. It's already looking quite about 8-10 minutes.
Fantastic.
And then what you got to do is you wrap it up in kind of cling film or cover up with a cloth and just let it rest for normally about half an hour. Is the recommended time.
Which is why, I mean, everyone wants to say this. Here are some you've made earlier. You've prepared a couple of doughs.
Yeah, I made the other one, the dough for the Bigoli earlier on, and that is similar principle. You know, that was made with a semola and with 5 eggs.
Wonderful. Okay, well, while you just finish that off, I just wanted to make a quick comment about the label on these wines, because I'll pick this one up again. I just think that they're so beautiful. You've got the moon and the stars in there, but also just when we opened it up, the level of detail with this cork, with the stars and the moons on the cork as well. I just thought that was so cute. That's a really, really lovely touch.
So it's a typical Veneto there. So probably before I do the Bigoli with the pasta machine, I like to get going with the sauce, because that takes a little while to. I got the onions, I'm going to chop them. Okay, so what you're going to do is just to put up your pan with a bit of extra virgin olive oil, and then we're going to chop our onions.
Leo, do you want to tell us a little bit about the flavours of the Pinot Grigio and why this will pair so nicely with the Bigoli and the anchovy sauce?
Yes, of course. I think the key feature here would be the acidity, cutting through the fatness of the sauce, especially the olive oil, anchovies, and the saltiness as well, matching. I mean, the wine is also quite fruity. It is dry, but lots of fruit. So the first thing I get, as I said, the white peach, but also it's very citrusy, lemony. So, but thinking in a not overpowering way, this is a way that complements. It doesn't overpower the food. So if you think Sauvignon Blanc can be too much overpowering.
Yeah.
Pinot Grigio complements pretty well, you know.
It feels quite soft to me, more softer than I would expect a Pinot Grigio to be. It's got like a real kind of almost a creaminess to it. Is that?
Definitely, yes.
What's that come from? Is that just from the fruit, or is that the way that it's made?
The way it's made as well. Obviously the grapes, but the key thing is to leave it on what's called fine lees for a little while.
So that's just to explain for anyone that doesn't know what lees is, that's the kind of the cells that are left from the yeast that goes into making the alcohol.
So, post-fermentation, if you leave a white wine with the lees, it means that you want to add a little bit of richness and texture to the wine.
So the freshness is going to cut through the acidity of the fattiness of the anchovies and the oils, and the fruitiness will really complement the kind of like the herbiness, and they're both quite simple as well in terms of, you know, there's not lots of complex flavors in the pasta. There's not lots of complex flavors.
Exactly, it's very simple actually, very simple much. Like usually Italian cuisine is actually, you know, showing the produce, showing the very good products and well put together, but you know, in a nice way.
So we've got garlic and onion in here now, Tony.
Just a little bit of garlic and onions.
You're just
what you're going to do is you're going to just stew them. That is why you go to allow a bit more time. You go to cook them slowly, at slow heat.
So Tony, these onions are cut very coarse, like
because you are cooking them slowly, and we are kind of stewing them. They will melt. They will come apart. It becomes almost the sauce eventually. Becomes almost like a cream. You see what I mean? That is why it's pointless you to spend too much time cutting it too fine, unless you want to cook it in 10 minutes, kind of thing there. But it's better if you cook it slowly, and so that's why if it's chopped a bit bigger, it doesn't matter.
So they're all going to break down and become really soft.
Down, and they become, and then later on we will splash some wine, and we'll add the sardines.
Okay, so Tony, you've been rolling that out for a while. How thin are you getting it?
Well, now I'm in the larger kind of setting of the machine. I'm quite happy. I got quite a rectangular kind of shape of dough. Now what I do is I reduce to one setting at a time, and what I do is I just stretch the pasta. I mean, like I say, this spaghetti we are making, this Bigoli, is a type of spaghetti, and they mustn't be quite thick and quite coarse.
Okay,
so they mustn't be too fine, if you like.
It's like chunky spaghetti.
Like a chunky spaghetti.
But not flat like tagliatelle. It's still
no spaghetti. So now I got the dough which is to the right consistency and the right thickness. What I'm going to do is just to put it through the Bigoli. Sorry, I'm going to move my handle to this one, yeah.
So they're going to start coming out.
And
oh, wow.
and they come out. There you go, your Bigoli. Take a spaghetti. You see?
You make it look so easy.
They're lovely. And because, like I said, they are kind of meant to be coarse. What I do is I dust it, instead of dusting with my usual flour, which is, this is a mixer of semola and 00 flour, I actually dusting it with corn flour polenta, which is still from the north of Italy. And that will also give it a more coarse effect, if you like.
Yeah,
give us the...
That looks so cool. I'm definitely going to have to try making pasta at home now. So do you make pasta a lot, Leo?
Not like this.
No.
And this is your Bigoli. There we go. And obviously it's fresh pasta, so we'll only take 2 minutes to cook. Okay. And then you're going to do, again, take another... Make sure if you're making the pasta, the part we are not using it is covered with either clean film on a cloth, because you don't want the dough to get dry.
So should we talk about some other regional food pairings that would go with this wine? What other classical dishes would people be drinking with these?
Some of the light cheeses. So if you go for non-aged ones, like Primo Sale or what's the one that you mentioned before? Monte. Exactly. So fior di latte as well, even the fresh mozzarellas as well, no? Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
And you know, you can make a caprese salad if you want to, with basil and fresh tomatoes. But this sort of cheeses will go very well with this Pinot Grigio or the Chiaretto as well. Sure. Definitely, yes.
And Tony's actually made a sweet for us here as well. So I understand they've got lots of different names depending on whereabouts in Italy you're from.
They are what I made them. Obviously now we are in February, early February, so it's the kind of carnival time all over Italy. Well, it's all over the world, but all over Italy. And we, for this occasion, carnival, we make these pastries, which they're called chiacchiere, in most regions, but they also could be known in a different name, like say frappe or other names in other different regions. And what they'll do, they're just a pastry, mainly flour, eggs, and some other ingredients. And then they are kind of very thin, deeply fried, and they kind of puff. Yeah. So they're very, very light. And we sprinkle them with honey and sugar.
Honey and ice and sugar. I mean, they are. We've been kind of nibbling on them.
They're very Moorish.
They remind me Sundays and my youth in a way. And we call it frappe, not chiacchiere, frappe in Rome. I never heard calling them chiacchiere, but you know, I think every region has its own thing. But definitely, this is like festive and Sundays.
It's taking you back to some happy places.
In a way, yes. No, they're fantastic actually. For parties, like the carnival.
So yeah, I like I say, I haven't tried making pasta at home, but I did make quite a few pizzas during lockdown, making the dough and then getting the pizza.
That's another thing. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's I mean, obviously you've seen, it's not difficult. Once you know, it's easy, isn't it? I mean, at home. I mean, obviously in the restaurant trade, when I was in the restaurant, I used to have, I still got it, an electric machine, which is obviously because I make large quantities, and that makes it easier because, you know, it wasn't automatic, but it was semi-automatic. So it does the mixing in a big bowl for, 3-4 kilos, 5 kilos. That's what it does, and then it does the rolling, electric, and then obviously that allows you to have both hands free, so it makes it easier. While the Sonia is a bit more fiddly because, one hand is occupied by the, but it's, whatever it is, I mean, it's still for a small amount. This is perfect, it's a good fun. Yeah.
How's the sauce coming?
This is really soft.
What we do now is we've done the Bigoli.
It's getting creamy.
Yeah, that's going nicely.
And we'll cook it all.
Okay, what we're going to do is before the the roll in the Casunziei. I go to make the filling for the Casunziei.
Lovely. So we've got potatoes that have been boiled, and you're just kind of warming
just
them back up
reheating
again.
them so they kind of.
And while we're starting on
And also got the beetroots here,
beetroots,
which they're also kind of.
did you buy those ready cooked, or did you cook them yourself?
Yeah, I bought this in the ready cooked. I mean, they are good quality.
So yeah, while you're making the filling for this, I've just poured us each a glass of the rosé.
Yeah.
And Leo and I can get to talking about the
Okay, so you got
the flavours in these.
That's for you, Tony.
Good.
Here you go. So again, cheers.
Cheers.
Salut. Is that what we say in Italy?
Salute.
Salute. So this is, tell me a little bit about the grapes. Corvina?
Corvina is the main one, yes, 80%. Then they have Rondinella Molinara. But Corvina is the backbone of the wine, and as I said, it makes many of the wines in the region. As you can see, this is lightly colored, so that means very little contact with the skins, cold maceration. They do cold maceration, why? Because they want to preserve all the aromas, you see?
Sure. And it's not, I mean, it's somewhere in between the kind of the rosés that I'm used to drinking. It's not like really pale like a Provence rosé, but it's not also kind of deep red. It's like a beautiful salmon colour, isn't it?
It's goes on style, definitely. Some Provence rosé are like this. This is more going towards the orangey style.
Sure.
And I think it's very fashionable now.
And I think this also has a bit of body and fullness to it as well, doesn't
Definitely.
it?
That's why I think it will match much better with beetroot, I think.
Yeah, so we're having beetroot and potato and ricotta. So that's kind of going to be creaminess. That's going to complement this.
Body. Here there's a little bit more body coming from the grape skins, obviously.
So I got the potatoes, I got the beetroot and the ricotta. I also put a bit of salt, obviously, and a bit of nutmeg and some cinnamon. Just to
lovely. And I saw you putting some greenery in there as well. What were the herbs that you added?
Oh, there are some chives.
Some chives.
Sorry, yeah. You've got some chives, which also will go on top on the when they are cooked, with some parsley as well.
So Tony, you're going to finish off the sauce for the Bigoli now. We'll move out of your way, shall we?
The sauce for the Bigoli has been the onions. They've been kind of stewing for about an hour now.
And so they have, oh my goodness,
look at that, they are become almost like, say,
like a puree.
Like a puree kind of cream there. So what we do is now, we splash a little bit of splash of wet wine, which is normally there's no objection on that. And then we add this is sardines and anchovies, which I chop them,
okay,
add them up.
And they've all been cooked beforehand, have they?
The sardines, they normally are they're cured on salt.
Okay.
And the anchovies, they're kind of kept in a kind of oil.
Sure.
And so that will carry on for a little while we'll make the Casunziei. And because the dough has been rested, so it stretches nicely, see? You have to give a chance to the ingredients to all to amalgamate. So I got the pasta to the desired thickness. And what I do is for the Casunziei, you cut a little circle like this.
Oh, I can really smell those anchovies and sardines in the sauce.
Oh, you can, yeah? Let me give us there.
Beautiful.
That really is delicious.
Turn them down. This is the beautiful filling that we have, the beetroot, potatoes and ricotta. And what you're going to do is you're going to rest a little bit of that filling in the middle. Okay, the pasta is fresh, so that should kind of stick. But as an extra measure, because obviously in the restaurant we always used to, couldn't afford any mistakes. What I do is sprinkle a little bit of water just to make the layer moist again.
That's another tip.
You're getting lots of
Well,
tips for your home
it's a
cooking.
little thing, you know, which is you don't need much. They mustn't be flooded. And then what you do is you fold them in half like this, and you get a half moon shape.
Okay.
They got to be. Yeah, but now I'm starting with my hands like this, and then I'll show you in a minute, just to seal them. And that's a traditional. You're right. And then what you do is, with a fork, you just
crimp it round.
and give us a little bit of. It seals the pasta. I mean, this one doesn't take very much to cook anyways because it's fresh pasta. And it makes it look pretty.
You're almost there, Tony.
Yeah.
So what's going on now? You've moved the onion sauce into a bigger frying pan, is that?
Yeah, well, because I mean, obviously that's cooked now. The onion and the sauce is too. Now you need a bit more room to add the spaghetti on it.
Okay.
Bigoli that we made earlier on. I mean, it won't take very long. Obviously, the water's got to be boiling.
Usually it's a few minutes.
It's not salted too much salt because the sauce has got anchovies.
So would you like 2-3 minutes for the pasta?
2 or 3
to cook when
minutes,
it's
and
fresh?
then what happens is
Lovely.
the spaghetti is actually not a bad thing if you take them out maybe a little bit earlier than when they're not cooked completely, and just finish them off in the sauce.
Sure.
They will absorb all the flavor. That's what normally spaghetti is the best way of doing it. You know, you cook them like say if it says 10 minutes. Depends what sauce you're making. If you after 80 minutes you check them out, put them in the sauce, and finish them off the cooking within the sauce. So what the spaghetti will do will absorb them better. Will absorb the flavors better if you finish cooking
Of course.
in the sauce. So what I done is make sure you got enough liquid, and maybe add up a bit of cooking water for that particular reason.
Okay. Oh, I'm so excited to eat. Fantastic, look at that. So that really has taken just a couple of minutes.
A couple of minutes. But they're not ready, but we'll finish them off in the sauce.
So when you had your restaurant, Tony, were you always thinking about wine pairings with your menu?
Well, I mean, obviously, we used to try to advise customers on, on the selection of, to go with their meal. Of course, yeah. I mean, if people asked us, we would our recommendation. I mean, I had a brilliant manager, a brilliant head waiter in my restaurant. I was lucky enough, and they always used to, very happy to. To recommend the wines to go with whatever food they chose. So.
Looks incredible, Tony. So what will you put on top of it? Will you just finish it with some herbs? Do you put?
Parsley. I think this one here are quite ready. Shall I just move the... Make sure I don't burn the table.
Wow. So just remind us exactly what's in it. It's in the sauce is...
And there is anchovies.
Anchovies.
Is onions. Stuffed onions. And a little bit of garlic.
Onions, garlic,
and
anchovies.
Anchovies and sardines.
Sardines, fantastic. There we go, fantastic. So the name of this, what would you call it? Bigoli
Bigoli in salsa.
is salsa.
Bigoli in salsa, a little bit of parsley. Bigoli in salsa. I mean, what I've done is just I added up a bit of chopped cherry tomatoes to give a bit more color, if you like. But this is all kind of personal taste, really, to make the plate a bit more colorful. And already got some chopped parsley, just a little parsley on top to finish. And this is Bigoli in salsa. Here we go.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you. Enjoy it. Now we're cooking the Casunziei. That's quite simple, really. We made the Casunziei earlier on, so they are here. So what we do is dip them in a slightly salted boiling water, as like any pasta. And that will take a couple of minutes. What we do is we get them in a frying pan. We put some butter and then some sage, one of my favorites as well. Sage and basil, and we got some, and then I grated up hard cheese. I mean, I got here some Grana Padano, obviously the one they use the most, because where it is in Lombardia is in Veneto, I mean, is in Padania, so that's where Grana Padano comes from. So that is the most used one, but any mature cheese will do it. I mean, I got here some Grana Padano, Grana, and we also got some pecorino.
Wonderful.
You lose a bit of color when you do the coloring pasta. Grana, like I said. And the one thing which I haven't mentioned so far, which I forgot, traditionally with this pasta is topped with poppy seeds.
Oh, nice. Oh, I feel so lucky. Thank you so much.
Me too.
For doing this for us, Tony.
It's a pleasure.
Beautiful.
Melted butter. Sprinkle of poppy seeds.
Oh, beautiful. I love that poppy seeds are so tiny, but they have such a powerful flavour when you bite down on them, don't they?
And a little bit more, as Italians, we love it. Just a little bit more.
And is that the
Grana.
Grana Padano?
But I mean, I got pecorino as well. That will go very well. And that will go your Casunziei.
Well, you've been working very hard, so take your pick.
I'll taste the Pinot Grigio with
the rosé for the Casunziei and
Pinot Grigio with the Bigoli.
forks and spoons, forks and knives. And we can just tuck in and just talk about how these go. So we'll start with the Bigoli, shall we, with the Pinot Grigio.
Using a spoon.
And that's lovely because it's still got a bite to it, as you were saying, that it's quite a coarse texture. And I'm just going to try that with the wine.
That's lovely, very nice.
Tony, that is beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, I think it's Pinot Grigio goes well with the Bigoli.
Absolutely right. And I'm just going to cut into one of these. These look so pretty. I almost don't want to.
Yeah,
Don't want to ruin it. Let's go straight in.
Obviously, with the beetroot, you almost got that kind of sweet kind of
It
sense
is.
of it is
That's beautiful.
with the other things as well.
Sweet but herby, and
Nice, isn't it?
fatness.
Good combination with the ricotta.
Oh, it's pairing very well. Oh yeah, lovely.
That is really fantastic. Yeah, again, as we were saying, the herbs Again, this is very refreshing, and all of the butter on the sauce. It's
Because
a
I
great
mean,
balance.
the sauce, it doesn't overpower, you see?
No.
So it's a good complement, very well.
It's delicate. I like
Very
the wine.
delicate dish. And this wine, let's have a look. The Chiaretto, I think is a well
You're happy with
match.
that?
It's a very good match.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Toni.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I
Thank you, Toni.
enjoy very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.